Hey, this is Editor Lucas coming in after my recording. I wanted to preface by saying that the topic that I'm speaking about could be uncomfortable for some viewers, so I'm giving out this little bit of a warning. I'm talking about sex education in the public school system, and that being said, I'm also talking about things like abortion, STDs, and STIs. I'm bringing up stats that some might find disturbing, so I just advise discretion as you all go and watch my video.
So you're standing in a hallway and you know of this hallway and there's a door at the end of it and it's dark. You can't see what's underneath it, but it's an ominous door. What's in there, you don't know. But when you get closer, you're told, stay away from it, don't go in that door. And you stand there and you say, why? And they say, it's evil, it's bad, it'll take you away, and that's it. What are you gonna wanna do, you guys? You're gonna wanna open that door. So I am here to present the idea that the sex education standards that we have set up are not going to set for success and set for failure. I believe that we need to take a different approach to how we will teach sex education in schools. I'm going to start off by giving a point that the World Health Organization in a July 10th, 2023 study, they said that more than 1 million STIs are acquired every single day. And on top of that, there are 374 million new infections, and that the number of mother-to-child transmissions of STIs will end up resulting in things such as birth deformities, death, stillbirths, and it can even result in things like cancers and other things down the road. And in the end, there are over 800,000 deaths every single year just from STIs alone. Also, in her research article, Sexuality, Society, and Learning, Shelby Assel, a family studies professor at Kansas State University, says that many young adults have expressed that throughout their entire time that they've been in school and in sex education, they have felt uncomfortable and unable to ask questions, and that the teachers have appeared unprepared and unready to talk or explain anything else, and that it was just not beneficial for that. The teacher's posture for these kinds of events should be very welcoming, loving, and open so that there won't be any sort of confusion or trials down the road, right? So also, um, that there is a study done in Japan in the West that said that it was by, I'm so sorry, you guys, there was a study done in 2019 by Public Health Teen Representative Health Issue, Heidi Lung. She says that in the West, that there are many skeptics who are going to say that the topic of sex education should be avoided because there's a chance that this kind of topic will bring in things that they don't want. And they quoted it as poking the bear. And since that was the case, there was still somehow an increase in sexual STIs and premarital births while in Japan. So we have this parallel that's created between places like the United States where we have climbing just STIs and premarital births. And then we have the same thing in the West despite them having a lack of teaching it. So that really just goes and solidifies my point that there's going to be a much more difficult time approaching the way we're going to teach it if there's problems on both ends, right? So Brian David, he is the Department of Health Science in Karlstad, Sweden. He says that in the American Journal of Sex Education, that abstinence-only programs are fear-based and shame, and they're intended to shame and guilt youth who are involved in sexual activities. And whenever this kind of thing happens, there's still a lack of growing. So I'm saying that there shouldn't be this abstinence-only mindset, and instead there should be this intention to go in depth and explain every single thing that's going on with the bodies and all the negative things that are going to come of that, such as STIs, STDs, abortions, or maybe young pregnancies that will turn into lifelong commitments that just people are not prepared for. And lastly, my final statement, in her research article, Sexuality, Society, and Learning, we talked about that one, so my fault, you guys. So according to the works and studies done by the CDC in 2019, half of the new STI diagnoses are going to be among 15 and 24-year-olds, and the teen birth rate in the USA is higher than any other country that there is that's as like wealthy as us and as well developed as us. And my very final point, Underhill K and Montgomery P, which were two health education specialists, they said in their systematic review of abstinence plus HIV prevention programs that there were different groups of people that were studied. There are people who were taught this: you can't have sex because it's you can't do it, it's awful, you'll get in trouble, versus the people that are going in depth and explaining all the risk. They're talking about the stats, what's going to happen down the road. And they found that the people who had this very in-depth learning were less likely to get HIVs, to get engaged into this kind of behavior, and in the long run, they would be the people that would not be pregnant versus the people who were just kind of shied away or shadowed over this. So all in all, what I'm trying to say here is that there are so many stats that are going to come and prove that the way that we're approaching this is completely wrong. I think that I can speak for many who have been in sex education that there have been far too many times where you have been too embarrassed to ask questions, and then the class will laugh and giggle about things when they hear the words. It shouldn't be spoken about until later in school, but when it should be more in-depth, it should be more detailed, and in the long run, it's going to be much more effective than just saying you cannot do it. Thank you guys.